India signed a fresh defence deal with Russia worth 445 crore rupees. This one is specifically for the Tunguska Air Defence Missile System for the Indian Army. Hello and welcome. You're watching Deep Dive on NewsX. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. Today we'll be talking about the Tunguska Air Defence System that India is buying from Russia. It's part of a bigger 858 crore rupee package that also includes maintenance for the Navy's P-8I aircraft. But today let's focus on the Tunguska. What exactly it is, why India is buying it now, and why it matters on the modern battlefield. So the Tunguska, officially called the 2K-22 Tunguska, is a Russian-made mobile air defense system. Think of it as a Swiss Army knife for short-range protection. Known by its NATO designation SA-19 Grison, it combines both missiles and guns in a single platform, allowing it to engage targets across varying ranges and altitudes. Unlike systems that only fire missiles or only use guns, the Tunguska does both on a single tracked vehicle. It has powerful 30mm cannons and surface-to-air missiles working together. That's why it's called a hybrid gun missile system. It was developed by the Soviet Union in the late 1970s and early 1980s to protect fast-moving tank columns and infantry from sudden air attacks, low-flying jets, helicopters, and later drones and cruise missiles. India has been using Tunguska systems since the 1990s, and this new deal is to get more missiles and possibly support to keep the existing fleet strong and upgraded. In simple words, it's a battlefield bodyguard that moves with our troops and can react very quickly to threats coming from the sky. Let's break down its firepower, because this is where it gets impressive. The vehicle runs on tracks, weighs about 35 tons and can move at speeds of up to 65 kilometers per hour. A crew of 4 operates it: commander, driver, gunner and radar operator. It has 2 layers of defense. First, the guns, 2 twin 30mm autocannons that can together fire up to 5,000 rounds per minute. That's impressive rate of fire. These guns are deadly against very close threats: drones, helicopters or low-flying aircrafts, up to 4 kilometers away. They can even hit ground targets if needed as well. Second, the missiles. It carries 8 ready-to-launch missiles from the 9M311 family. These can reach out to 8 to 10 kilometers, in fact, and hit targets flying as high as 3.5 to 5 kilometers. The missiles are fast and accurate, guided to take down more distant or faster threats. On top of that, it has its own radar that can detect targets up to 18 kilometers away, plus optical and thermal cameras for day-night and bad weather operations. The best part, it can engage targets even while the vehicle is moving, perfect for protecting troops on the advance. The system is equipped with a 360-degree target acquisition radar capable of detecting threats up to 18 kilometers away. A tracking radar and digital fire control system ensure precise engagement. It can operate in electronically contested environments and also includes optical tracking, allowing it to function even if radar systems are jammed. Mounted on a tracked chassis, the Tunguska can move alongside armored units across varied terrain and weather conditions. It's designed to operate as part of a wider air defense network, receiving inputs from external surveillance systems. In short, guns handle the swarm of cheap drones or very close attacks, while missiles take care of bigger threats further out. Layered protection in one package. And the big question, why now? Modern wars, whether in Ukraine or West Asia, have shown one clear thing: drones are everywhere. Small surveillance drones, kamikaze drones, loitering munitions. They're cheap, hard to detect and can overwhelm traditional defenses. India's air defense is already quite strong with long-range systems like the S-400, but there was a gap in highly mobile, short-range protection that can stay right next to our armed columns and infantry, especially along the borders. The Tunguska fills exactly that gap. It's built to move fast with the troops set up quickly and provide instant cover against aircraft, helicopters, drones and low-flying cruise missiles. Defense officials have clearly said these cutting-edge missiles will strengthen India's multi-layered air defense against all kinds of aerial threats. With rising drone worries on both our northwestern and, other fronts, this makes perfect sense. At around $47 to $50 million, it's a practical and proven solution from a long-time trusted partner. For the Indian Army, more Tunguska systems or upgraded missiles for the ones we already have mean better protection for our strike formations and forward deployed units. It also adds redundancy, so even if one layer of defense is challenged, another is ready. It also shows India's smart approach. We are pushing hard for Atmanirbhar Bharat and indigenous systems, but when something is battle-proven and exactly meets an urgent need, we don't hesitate to buy it from reliable friends like Russia. The Indo-Russian defense partnership remains strong, especially for platforms where we have decades of experience operating and maintaining them. To wrap it up, the Tunguska is a rough, tough, mobile, hybrid air defense system that combines guns and missiles to protect our soldiers from the sky threats, especially the growing drone danger. The 445 crore rupee deal is a timely step to keep our frontline forces safe in an era of changing warfare. Let's discuss this with Wing Commander S. Sudhakaran, defense expert, is live with us. Wing Commander Sudhakaran, how crucial and beneficial will this deal be for our defense capabilities?
Good evening. This is a very important procurement, specifically from the Pakistani or a possible Bangladeshi front. And not so much from the perspective of China. Why? One is because of the terrain. And second is the kind of sophisticated technologies that China uses. Maybe this will not be of much help. But definitely against our principal adversary, which is Pakistan, because even if China wants to come to fight, it will first engage Pakistan. And this will come very handy for the infantry units because, mind you, this is a mobile kind of an air defense system. India lacks such a system. We never built such a system because we never foresaw the kind of drone warfare that has, really taken the air power by surprise in the last specifically 5 to 7 years. This was there building up for the last 10 to 15 years. But then, as India is famously known, we were procrastinating, until 22. It is actually too late to buy this right now. But this is required because the infantry is known to move, it has to move ahead in the battlefield. It cannot stay in one place. Battle space is always an expanding field, even when you are falling back or when you are advancing. And that's where today you need a cover like this to give you close air protection, air cover protection. And Tunguska does relatively well on those fronts. It's a short-range missile which will be able to neutralize low-flying targets to around 8 kilometers in range. Specifically, the likes of Akash struggle on close ranges because there is a lot of interference that comes on the radar. I'm personally trained on Akash, so I can tell you that. Akash does well in medium to, slightly beyond medium ranges. It is not a long-range weapon. Even it is a sub-30-kilometer weapon. Now, this will close the immediate requirement for support for any moving battalion. The second thing is that this can go up to 500 kilometers from any given point, which means that if the radars intercept incoming targets, this can actually move forward towards a target. So when you say 8 kilometers, that's kind of misleading because those 8 kilometers are sacrosanct for a static weapon like an Akash, which cannot move. Once you deploy, it has to stay in that place. But this kind of weapon system, when it moves, it dynamically improves the ranges. And that is the game changer because it can go 50 kilometers ahead and then neutralize a target that is 8 kilometers in its kill zone. So which means it has already achieved a range which an Akash will not be able to neutralize. And it has got a safe altitude of around 3,500 meters also. So it is a very potent weapon, a good buy. But then India, I don't know why, it is not a rocket science. If we can build a weapon of Akash class, why haven't we built it? The reason is we don't think holistically. We sometimes, treat war like hobby. Half of the bureaucracy believes that war will never happen. The problem with war is when it happens, It doesn't give you a reaction time.
Absolutely, which is why we need to prepare, isn't it? We need to prepare and be proactive rather than reactive. Do you believe this is a step in that direction of being proactive rather than reactive, Wing Commander Sudhakaran?
Proactive step because this should have been done 15 years back. We fought 2 wars in between. Thank God Operation Sindoor and your Uri and Balakot strike didn't escalate. Imagine what would have happened if it had escalated. See what an Iran is doing to a power like America. If the Pakistanis would have had the right kind of support, we'd have been in very, very deep troubled waters. Thank God for our diplomacy. thank God for our efforts on foreign affairs, and that China chose the restraint that it actually exercised while it did candidly support Pakistan. But imagine if Pakistan did 10% of what Iran did to America. We would have been in deep, deep troubled waters. The government wouldn't have a face to say for itself. And then there would have been this narrative that the Mumbai 26/11 attack time, we didn't even choose to respond. People would have said politically that that is the correct stance for India to take, and we would have been always on the defensive. Thank God that we have taken the move now. It is 15 years too late, but then we have to accelerate these moves, and there are 100 more such moves that are required. I can personally tell you, I see a lot of gaps. While Operation Sindoor was a commendable effort from the Indian Air Force, because I personally had seen what happened during Balakot. We shot down our own chopper, during the second day of the 11 of our people were killed. We need to understand every life matters. And therefore, the system had to take the business of war fighting and military far more seriously, which means that we need to sweat more in peace, spend more in peace, so that we will bleed less in war and spend less in war. That's the most important part. We are just not getting that. We are all over the place. When it comes to advanced technologies like artificial intelligence, I'm telling you, it is full of rhetorics and spectacle. There is hardly any substance in this country building real technology. There is only so much that people like us can do, but the bureaucracy has to wake up. We can't keep going and sitting in the laps of multinational corporates. We've already seen that in Russia. Even the KFCs and the McDonald's will pack and go, let alone the Googles and the Facebooks and the OpenAIs and the Claudies. We've already seen how Anthropic has been used in war fighting. It's high time we build sovereign systems. It's high time we understand our gaps. It's high time we prepare ourselves.
All right.
We need to
Wing Commander
understand.
Sudhakaran, we've run out of time. Appreciate you joining us with your perspective on this segment.